welcome back to What's Securing. Thanks for joining us today. We've had a very exciting few weeks here at Data Connect since our last podcast episode. Our directors were invited to a partner event by Bitdefender, in which we were nominated for 2 awards. And I'm very happy to share that we did in fact win an award in one of the nominated categories. If you're familiar with Data Connect already, you'll likely know that we hold frequent educational webinars to help organisations understand and learn more about the different areas within the industry. We recently, on the 22nd of June, held our latest webinar in which we discuss an array of industry acronyms: EPP, EDR, NDR, XDR, MDR, SEAM and SOAR, which has also sparked today's podcast topic. I'm going to run through some of the key areas. However, for more information and to hear from our technical experts, you can head to the webinar later. As listeners to a podcast on cybersecurity, you're probably already aware that cyber attacks are increasing significantly in recent time. According to the UK government, the number of attacks increased by 38% in 2022 alone, and they don't discriminate, whether it comes to small businesses or large enterprises. One phrase that is often used by our security team when they talk to customers is, it's not about if you get attacked, it's about when you get attacked. And that's not just to scare or panic organisations. But it highlights that there's no safety in thinking it hasn't happened yet, so what we have is working, because the chances of it happening is unfortunately becoming more likely, and attacks are increasingly becoming more sophisticated. It is the preparation for when that is key. If you can put the preventative and proactive methods of detecting something malicious in place, then the likelihood of an attempted attack being prevented or stopped in its tracks is much greater. Which leads us on to the security acronyms for detection and response solutions: EPP, EDR, NDR, XDR, MDR, SEAM and SOAR. So let's go through their definitions. First up we have EPP, which is endpoint protection, and that refers to solutions such as AV for protection at device level. EDR, or endpoint detection and response, is usually seen as a licensed add-on to your standard endpoint protection. An AV solution alone cannot block everything bad, and sometimes a human is needed, or more sophisticated tools using AI and machine learning to make decisions. NDR is network detection and response, which is used to monitor network connections and is also rolled into firewall functionalities today. XDR, which is extended detection and response, has extended capabilities to cloud apps and user directory, and not only looks at the endpoints. And then we have MDR, which is managed detection and response. Security vendors realised that they still needed to address 2 key areas with EDR: the expertise required and the lack of capable resource in end-user organisations. And this is where detection and response became managed detection and response. A common problem, however, is that due to vendors having different service offerings, MDR can come in a variety of formats. Now moving on to SIEM, which is Security Information and Events Management. It provides a single pane of glass for managing all security events and alerts, both for compliance and forensics. And lastly, we have SOAR, which stands for Security Orchestration, Automation and Response, and is used to enhance the capabilities of a SOC team, providing automation, correlation and response. For more details on each of these areas, our Technical Director, Ray Stone, provides much more information in our webinar. For now, I'm going to move on and highlight a couple of good practices for any detection and response solution that I personally think is important to all organisations. First things first, make sure you have visibility of as many areas as possible. A saying that we always use at Data Connect is, you can't fix what you can't see. But that's also the same case as you can't detect suspicious activity in an area where you don't have visibility. Having endpoint protection is a must, but there's so much benefit to expanding that visibility to cloud such as SaaS, IaaS and PaaS, your applications, networks and files. Having a solution that will collect telemetry across your security stack all in one place will build up a bigger picture of your organisation and increases your chance of spotting indicators of compromise. Another good practice relates to the response section. If you come across something that is malicious, do you have a plan in place to respond? A lot of organisations may invest in technology, for example a SIEM tool, and feel rest assured that an expensive technology purchase is protection enough, which is really not the case. If you do have this in place, it's great that you can hopefully detect a threat, but it's so important to have the procedures in place to stop it in its tracks. In the unfortunate event of an attack, a well-deployed SIEM solution would have collected and stored all the necessary telemetry and security logs. This allows you to forensically investigate what took place, helping you in the aftermath, and more importantly, work out what exactly went wrong. We've just covered the detection and response acronyms that are the buzzwords in the industry right now, often being used by vendors, sometimes lacking in context or explanation. If you've enjoyed this podcast and you have 30 minutes spare, don't forget to catch the webinar as it dives much deeper into this topic. You can find a link in the episode description or contact moreinfo@dataconnect.co.uk with any questions. Thanks very much, and that's all for today.